This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, Heather Ho there. It's John Cutastrophe, and welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe birthday boy. And the birthday boy for today, that February 16th, is a former NFL legend who is a Pittsburgh Steelers icon. But people forget that he didn't start his career as a Pittsburgh Steeler. Oh, no, no, no. But anyway, this guy is famous. He's 51 years old. He's been on a couple commercials for Bet Rivers Casino with Daniel Toole on Canadian TV and all that. He retired after winning a Super Bowl, which is like the best way to go out. But anyway, he is the best. Jerome Bettis. Jerome was born in Detroit and the oldest of 3 children. He actually made ends meet in Detroit by selling crack cocaine, which isn't really the best thing around. But he was in high school football and he was pretty good. He was named top player of the state of Free Press. So Bettis would go to the University of Notre Dame. He was going to be a golden boy and all that. Notre Dame was known for their running backs and all that. So he did quite well. In his last game as a junior, he helped Notre Dame win the 93 Cotton Bowl, taking down A&M and running for 2 touchdowns. So he looked pretty good. When he was a sophomore, he's got the Notre Dame touchdown record with 20 in one season. 16 rushing and 4 receiving. So he was pretty good and all that. But Bettis left Notre Dame in a senior season for the '93 NFL draft. It was like shocking all that. He actually returned to Notre Dame to take an 18 credit class load to graduate. So he has officially graduated with a business degree, but this is just 2022, which is strange. Anyway, though, it's the '93 NFL draft, and Bettis thought he was going to be the first running back taken. Well, he wasn't. He was the second. Phoenix, well, the Cardinals were in Phoenix at the time, took Garrison Hearst. A big move by the Cardinals to make the trade with the Jets to get Garrison Hearst. The Jets took Marvin Shaytree Jones. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, the '93 draft was known for the Bledsoe-Rick Meyer debate. Who had the bet? Who should New England have taken with the first pick? And it worked out for them. So anyway, after a few moves and all of that, the Rams were 10th on the clock and took Jerome Bettis. So the Rams were hoping for a good running back. He signed a 3-year contract and would flourish under Chuck Knox's ground-oriented offense, known as Ground Chuck. He did pretty well, 1,400 yards in the NFL as an LA Ram. Yeah, people forget that he wasn't a Steeler for his whole career. He was an LA Ram at first. He looked pretty good. He was the consensus NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year, so it looked like everything was roses. But unfortunately, 2 things would not get Bettis long for the Rams. Number 1 was LA's move to St. Louis for the '95 season, and number 2, the new coach was Rich Brooks, who went pass-oriented, which basically meant that Bettis was limited in the rushing yards and all that. He was asked by Brooks whether he wanted to move to fullback for the '96 season or preferred to be traded. Jerome Bettis was not too pleased and decided to make a trade. He wanted to be traded. And in one of the most lopsided trades in NFL history, before the '96 NFL draft, Bettis was traded to the Steelers with a 3rd-round pick for the Steelers' 2nd-round pick in '96 and the 4th in '97. You know, the Rams actually gave Bettis the option of which team he would be traded to. Houston almost got Jerome Bettis, but he chose the Steelers because of their history and all of that. And it worked out. It worked out for Houston, too, because the others took Eddie George, and he was just bonkers with the other Titans. So anyway, the Rams would draft Ernie Conwell with that 2nd-round pick they took from the Steelers, which wasn't that bad, and the Steelers' 4th-round pick in '97. But they used that 4th-round pick to pick up Ryan Tucker in the draft and all that. The Steelers would draft Steve Conley, but not with the pick the Rams gave the Steelers, but nothing else happened. The Steelers needed a running back because their big power running back, Van Morris, was actually arrested for marijuana possession. And basically, Van Morris kind of ruined his career. Anyway, he would pick up 1,431 yards rushing with 11 touchdowns. Was named Comeback Player of the Year and Alumni Player of the Year. In his first 6 seasons with the Steelers between 1996 and 2001, he ran for 1,000 yards every year. He knew what he could do. In 1997, he put up 1,665 yards, which was his career high and all that. He actually would have had the Steelers record, but because the Steelers knew their playoff possession, he was arrested for the regular season finale. Although he could have taken 30 yards and, done that. But it didn't matter. Anyway, in 2001, he was looking good to lead the league in rushing yards, but he had a hip and groin injury that was sidelined him. He would also get injured for the 2002 season, and by 2003, he was the backup to Amos Saraway, but he regained his starting role in 2003. But then the next season, Deuce Staley was going to be the main running back. Bettis had to step in when Staley got hurt and put up 100-plus yards in 7 consecutive starts. Bettis was basically a short yardage running back by the 2005-06 season. He actually put up a pivotal win against the Bears in over 100 yards when he actually ran over Mike Green and Brian Urlacher of the Bears on the goal line during a heavy snow squall. And then he would score 3 touchdowns in a win over Detroit to clinch a playoff berth for the last day of the season. And he came in the 5th highest rusher at the time. Of course, Bettis, his position on the Steelers wouldn't be denied and all that. However, Bettis would have a couple of weird things. Number one was, remember the Thanksgiving Day coin toss problem in '98? Bettis was sent out for the field. Steelers and Lions on CBS on Thanksgiving were going to overtime. Bettis was made the head call. Bettis appeared to call tails, but Phil Luckett thought he called heads and gave possession to Detroit, who would score the field goal. The NFL did change the rules that the calls of heads or tails have to be before the coin was tossed, rather than during the coin toss, and 2 officials would be present during the coin toss. Bettis actually did kind of say head, tails. Like he changed it in the air. But anyway, Bettis one time carried 5 times in a game for only 1 yard, but 3 of them were for touchdowns. Well, it didn't matter. Anyway, so Bettis almost retired after the 2005 season. Well, the 2004-05 season because of their AFC title loss to my Pats. But Bettis agreed to stay with the Steelers because he knew that the Super Bowl was in his hometown of Detroit for 2006. So he made it a goal to have Pittsburgh do it. And Jerome Bettis almost cost the Steelers that chance in the 06 playoffs because he made a costly fumble at the 1-yard line, which the Colts' Nick Harper was going to return for a scoop and score. However, Ben Roethlisberger's swipe tackle on Harper's leg got Harper down at the 40, and then Mike Vanderchoke, as I should call him, missed that field goal wide right. Somehow, in some way, the Steelers got to the Super Bowl and beat the Seahawks. Seattle fans would be pissed off because of all the calls that went against them in Super Bowl 40. But I mean, come on. How are you going to call a penalty on a gadget play? Anyway, Bettis finally did it. He said after receiving the Vince Lombardi trophy, the bus is coming home, meaning he would retire. All that. So he did what he could. He was just amazing. All that. Bettis did quite well at Super Bowl 40. He did all that. Yep. So we're going home. He scored 13,662 rushing yards with 91 touchdowns for the Rams and the Steelers. He knew he wanted to stay. All that. Steelers have not officially retired Bettis is number 36. But, they're not going to allow it to happen and all that. Bettis got the key to the city in January 2006. He got an honorary doctorate from Lawrence Technical University. All of that. Bettis would become a studio commentator for Football Night in America for NBC for a couple years. Anyway, this is everything going on with Jerome Bettis being an analyst, all of that. Bettis was inducted to the Hall of Fame in 2015, so that looked pretty good. So he got a bachelor's degree in business just this past year. And as I said, he's on the Bet Rivers ads in Canada. So yeah, the bus drove himself into this list for sure. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.